There's been a couple of them that have come in. What's your day-to-day schedule look like right now?
I am a Zoom master. I didn't know anything about Zoom 3 weeks ago, but I am a Zoomer. And we've obviously been getting a lot done on the recruiting front, communication with our players. Actually, we have a Zoom with our team at 4 o'clock this afternoon. Just want to get some FaceTime with them and let us all kind of communicate with each other as best we can, face to face. Certainly, trying to run the program long distance. We've got our strength coach, Tony Berlinski, plugged into our guys. The problem has been many of them can't find a weight room to do strength training. So there's a lot of body weight stuff that Tony weekly sends out to our guys. Finding a gym has also been a challenge, and many of them are outside, hooping a little bit outside and trying to be creative with finding a gymnasium to work on their game. I think a lot of them are running, so the conditioning part of it, to get that, to keep the cardio up and keep moving. Each week our staff gets together and we, with Tony and Nixon, our trainer, and try and find creative ways to keep them going physically. The academic side of it, Pat Holmes is certainly staying on top of this distance learning, and each one of my assistants has 2 or 3 of our returning guys that they are really tracking from an academic standpoint. And so we're adjusting day to day, week to week, trying to figure it out, and just trying. I think the tone, Alan, that I've tried to take with our guys is now they've been home a while, and those walls are starting to creep in on them a little bit. Let's be honest. Heck, they're creeping in on us a little bit. So to give them some hope and talk about our team and talk about our schedule and talk about our season, and just to get them kind of methodically hanging in there day to day and try and give them some light at the end of the tunnel, talking about next season a little bit.
Awesome. Matt Freeman, he wants to know, what are you getting in Trey Wertz, and how are you guys so able to quickly lock him down?
Well, I think he's going to be I'm very excited about Trey, and he's one of those guards in a long, long line of guards that we've had. And I don't know if he's a 1 or a 2 or a 2.5 or a 3 or whatever, but he is a basketball player. He is a feel for the game guy. He's got a great skill set. You think about us 2 years from now when he gets eligible, when you come at people with Cormac Ryan, Prentice Hub, Trey Wertz, Dane Goodwin, and Nate Lashevsky, boy, you can really spread that floor out. Good off the dribble skill set. He's got a great wingspan. He's 6'5", but he's got a 6'11" wingspan. Length is always important in this game now. He's 180, but by the time he takes the floor for us, I bet he'll be 195, maybe 200. But just right. And I think he really saw an opportunity in a style of play. I knew we were in good shape when he texted me in the process, Coach, I've been on Synergy. Do you see me playing like Jaron Grant in your system? I said, bingo. Yes. And so anyways, really bright kid. Goal is to get an MBA like Rex did and like Nick Jogo will do this next year in his 5th year. But very excited to have him and a great fit for us.
Our compliance office also got the paperwork in for Tony Sanders. Can you go through,
Sure.
The whole?
Sure. Well, Tony is a guy, and as you read some of the articles back when he committed a couple weeks ago, Gary DeCesar and I go back 25 years in the profession. Gary was a great high school coach in New York. Used to run the ABCD camp for Sonny Vaccaro at Fairleigh Dickinson University when it was the camp back in the summer. Then went with Jerry Wainwright as associate head coach at DePaul, came to the Midwest, and then eventually was a high school coach in Chicago for a while. And Gary has always wanted us to have our program to have one of his guys. And we just, Vic Law was one. There was a couple guys the timing wasn't right. And Gary texted me about Tony in January, and Hump got on it. Ryan Humphrey did a great job with it, and we stayed on it. He's at a really good school. He's a heck of a student. He's, as you saw, Gary compares him to Ty Nash, and that's quite a compliment. You know, a 6'7" guy who just knows how to play and is good with the ball. I just think he's going to be a great 4-year investment for us. Feel for the game, athletic ability, knows how to play. And I'm really excited to have one of Gary DeCesar's guys because he has been well trained as a high school player. So, you know, again, when you look at today officially adding Tony Sanders and Trey Wertz, a great shot in the arm for our program. That's 11 scholarship guys. And, you know, we'll keep plugging. You know, one of the things I told our staff as far as recruiting, you know, given this crisis and this climate, and who knows if we're going to be out recruiting in July, that doesn't look very good now. We could be recruiting right up until mid-August for next year's roster or adding someone to the team. And so to just keep an open mind all the way up till the first day of school, and I'm praying like heck, if we don't have summer school, that fall semester kicks off on time.
So we have a kind of a follow-up on that from Matt Freeman. Along the lines of quick recruitments, how are you able to connect with Sanders, and how comfortable are you in taking an incoming freshman who hasn't visited campus?
Extremely comfortable. You know, I think overall, in this climate, recruiting in this climate right now, young people and their families are having to be more decisive about a decision, and so are coaches and institutions. And you know what? I think it's a good thing. How many times have we gotten into a thing where a kid says, well, I think I know what I want to do, but I want to take 2 more visits. And then I fly back to the school and meet with the home. We do waste a lot of time and money on that front. Maybe coming out of this, we can streamline our recruiting a little bit more, and everyone can be more decisive about it. You know, as much film of basketball I've watched for 35 years, I think you can watch some tape and get a feel for a guy, and you certainly can get a feel for a family by way of a high school coach, guidance counselors, teachers, and developing a relationship. Again, this Zoom communication where you at least can look people in the eye and get a feel of their personality is the best we can do. And certainly we've done it a lot. We did it a lot with those 2 prospects, Tony and Trey.
We've had quite a few, which I'm going to kind of put them all in one about scheduling. I know we've talked about scheduling. So this is from Patrick Engel, who's with Blue and Gold now. You previously said scheduling home and homes instead of guaranteed games is one way to save money. How open are you to scheduling those mid-majors in addition to high majors? In conversations with other coaches on the topic, how are they on the same page with all this?
You know, I haven't spoken to many of my counterparts about our philosophy, and it's a philosophy that we're examining. I can't say we're locked into, hey, you know, we're going to cut our guarantee games and do more home and there's so much unknown, and we need about 3 or 4 more games as we plug it in. But there's no question. I mean, you know, I think you have to have an open mind to everything, given the climate, for your budget to help your athletic department, because we're all going to be in a crunch a little bit. You know, one of the reasons that we are holding at 11 scholarships right now. We're still recruiting, but unless it's a great fit, it wouldn't be bad on the budget if we didn't have to pay for another scholarship or 2. And that's you know, that's the world we're in right now as we move into the next academic year. So to add another guy, it's got to be a can't miss guy. I'm not just going to throw a scholarship out there. We don't do that anyways, but even more so right now. So with scheduling as well, you know, what's smart? What are you doing with it? We still have a couple more games to get. Obviously, we'll have Purdue down in Indianapolis. We'll have a home game against a Big Ten opponent, which will be determined probably in June or July sometime. We have Vanderbilt, USC, and UConn in Brooklyn at that event. We'll play 2 of those 3. I'm not sure who will play yet there. And then don't forget, we repeat Virginia and Duke. So the power of our schedule, don't worry about power. in our schedule. We had power in our schedule last year. We just couldn't beat enough of the top teams to get our net out of the 50s and up into the 30s. So the power is going to be there, especially now that we have 20 league games. And that opens up a whole nother thing. But I think with scheduling, like recruiting, I said up until the first day of school in August, scheduling may go for a while here. Well, are we going to play the same number of basketball games next year? There's a lot of things that are going to be so fluid with us, maybe up until September. Open mind on all those fronts, but I think all of us in every athletic department, budget conscious as has been the marching orders from our bosses is a key right now.
Okay, moving over to Mr. Priester from Irish Illustrated. Moving forward with your team, what are your biggest adjustments without John Mooney, TJ Gibbs, and Rex Pfluger? Who fills the roles? Who will be the leaders next year?
We lose some men there. I think we can replace the Pfluger-Gibbs thing more than the Mooney thing right now, because I really feel good about where Dane Goodwin is coming on the perimeter, and I think our fans will be very excited about watching Cormac Ryan, who's got some Ben Hansborough, Steve Astoria in him. But then, Robbie Carmody, we need him to come. He's healthy. He's trending the right way. He's jogging a little bit now, and Nixon is in touch with him, our trainer, on a daily basis. We need more out of there too, and it's time for him to really be part of it. But I think when you look to the front line and you go, wow, there goes a double machine out the door. Does Nate Lashevsky roll in and have a junior and senior year like Johnny Mooney? I think he can. I truly believe he can. Does Jawan Durham, now that Johnny Mooney is out of the way, with more opportunity? Let's think of the last game when Johnny Mooney was in foul trouble and quite frankly exhausted against Boston College. It was almost next year's team, only TJ Gibbs was there instead of Cormac Ryan. It was Jawan Durham making the plays and rolling down off of ball screens. And I have every reason to believe that Jawan can have a really good senior year, because that's what we've done with our program. How many times has a guy had Johnny Moon? How many times has a guy had a great senior year and capped it off? I fully expect Jawan Durham to do that. Now, then it turns to our young big guys when we talk about frontline guys. Elijah Taylor and Matt Zona. What are we going to get out of them? I am frustrated that I probably won't maybe get to work with them as much in the summer as I wanted to get them jump started. Because I think we're going to need one or both of them. I think they have a really bright future, but who knows who they are until we watch them for a week in with our mix. But, we do have some guys coming back that have been in big games and have played in big games. We have five, and then even Nick Jogo has played in big games. Why can't Nick Jogo be our sixth man? Why can't you have a great fifth year? I talked to Nick about that the last couple of weeks. Why can't you just take the six-man role? We're trying to get Robbie Carmody healthy. He's not. Maybe he won't be ready the first game of the season. So those are some of the things we talk about. But I'm excited about our group because we're staying old and we've got good experience.
Another one we have a question about is from Matt Freeman. Was there an area of Cormac Ryan's game that you wanted to see him develop over the last year, and where did he make strides in his game?
Well, I think the biggest thing we got to get to Cormac about, because he is the whole package, is slowing down a little bit. And that's why I make the Ben Hansborough comparison. Ben Hansborough played too fast when he first got to us, especially the year he sat out. Cormac, I had flashbacks. Now, Cormac, like Ben Hansborough, is the whole package. He can put it on the floor. He can shoot the basketball. He's more athletic than people think. He can get into the basket and get up and finish. He's a very good passer. He's got to be better with his assist to turnover. He's learning in our culture you don't throw that ball away. That's an area where a lot of new guards have to adjust to take care of that ball, and it's gold for us. But I think just slowing down a little bit and planning and changing speeds is going to be a big thing for him. And then working on his body. The two guys we really wanted to focus on their bodies. We focus on everybody's physicalness, Tony Relinsky does. but we really felt we could make strides with Prentice Hub and Cormac Ryan with them strength-wise overall. Now we're going to have to do it long distance, and that bothers me, but I think we can still achieve some of it long distance.
Got you. C.L. Brown has joined us today, so it's good to see him on here. How concerned are you about the competition for college basketball from overseas pro leagues and the G League in terms of high school players selecting their options instead of college?
That's a great question, and I think it's real. And again, whether there's I know there's a young man, the young man who was committed to Michigan from Raleigh decided to skip college. But forget the virus. I mean, this trend has been coming. It's going to happen, and it's going to be more and more prevalent. It's going to be more and more prevalent. And we're just going to have to deal with it. Now, personally, I'm not as concerned as much because our mission at our place, we're probably not getting guys like that because the guys we get really are interested in the degree at Notre Dame. But there's many programs affected, don't get me wrong. But you know what? Here's my attitude. We'll have kids take their place. There's so many good players out there. If a guy wants to go and he wants to go to the G League and go to Europe instead of give us a year, go, do your thing. We'll fill in behind with kids that want the opportunity and are good players.
Anthony Totri from ABC 57. What was your initial reaction when you heard winter sport athletes won't get an extra year?
Well, I was pleased to hear that, and I was very supportive of that. I talked to our AD, Jack Swarbrick, about that. Johnny, Rex, and TJ played 31 college basketball games this year. I know we didn't get to finish the ACC tournament in Greensboro, and we were probably we were going to be an NIT team at the very least, and which was good for us. I wanted that for this group if that was our destiny. The NIT would have been great for 32 teams and programs to get some reps and maybe try and get back to New York. And as much as I love those guys, it's time to move on. It's time for them to go, and it's time for the next wave, be it freshmen incoming, transfers getting eligible, or Nate Lashkeski, Jawan Durham, younger players in your program moving up to bigger roles. It's time to go. They need to, I love our seniors. They need to grow up and move on. They had a full 3 year and 90% of their senior year. It's the way of the world, and so I have not found any coach that disagreed with that ruling by the NCAA that our seniors needed to move on.
Kevin O'Neill wants to know: have one or more players stepped up into a leadership role in this whole Zoom world, organizing meetups, staying with teammates, keeping up morale, etc.?
I'd say Prentice Hub is, as everyone could see, he was becoming a leader, really the second half of the season, as well as he was playing, and he's our quarterback. His voice is out there. There's no question about it. It's too bad we can't be together more where I can develop. I think we'll lose some leadership development long distance. We just will, and hopefully we can make up for that. In the meantime, Nick Jogo has always been a team guy and a good voice. Where is Nate Lashkeski and Dane Goodwin by November 1st as far as voices? They played a lot of basketball already in 2 years of their college career. But I think this will be Prentice Hub's team. Cormac Ryan has a great voice. He has been such a great supporter. I see him emerging once we get back on campus as well.
There's been a few of these which I'm kind of all put together, but Carter Carls from South Bend Tribune: how will you go about recruiting and evaluating transfers during the upcoming months? I know you touched on it, but I think people want to know it.
The portal is the portal, man. It's out there, and we examine it every day and investigate it every day, and my assistants we'd have discussions on it. There's a couple kids right now in it that we have communicated with, and we haven't offered any of them yet, but we're trying to make some decisions on them. And I think that portal is going to be active up until mid-August, especially if we don't have summer school and young people can't get into a routine back on their campuses. And so we will continue to examine that and look at that. The great thing about this day and time is there's film of everybody. You can get footage of everybody. You can get a pretty good feel. And so, we'll continue to examine that. The main thing I said to our staff, the first week the guys were gone, is our most important recruits is our 9 returning players. That's our most important. All of those guys are home. They're not in a routine. I don't want them overanalyzing about their future. And I think we're in a very good position for all 9 of them to come back. But I never want to assume anything. So the number 1 recruits are getting our 9 returning guys back. And the 4 we signed, by the way. The 4 we signed.
Another Carter Carl's question: what do you feel like your team needs so you guys can make the NCAA tournament next year? What do they need to do?
Yeah, I think I think it's the next step for us. After being put on the mat 2 years ago and getting our butts kicked all over the place and losing 19 games, I thought we came off the mat this year and showed a surge and got some momentum back. My feeling is the natural progression is to be an NCAA tournament team for us and get back into that rhythm of that, which we've experienced for most of the time I've been at Notre Dame. I think we'll be able to score the ball, and we've got good perimeter play. I think a lot of it will come down to our rebounding and our inside scoring, and then can we defensive rebound as a team well enough? Because we're losing a guy in Mooney that just went and got 17 rebounds a game. And so, I don't know if anybody's going to do that, but we certainly need a team. We certainly need our group to rebound as a unit. We're going to take care of the ball. We're going to play how we play on that offensive end efficiently, and then we're going to see, who's Robbie Carmody? Who's Dane Goodwin as a full-time starter? Who's Nate Lashevsky as a full-time starter? I'm kind of excited about who they're going to be as we get going.
I got a follow-up from Patrick Engel on Blue and Gold on Prentice. Going off the leadership idea, how much of an opportunity was this offseason for Prentice to really take a grasp of the team?
Yeah, I think it was huge, and I'm frustrated that we'll miss most of the offseason togetherness. But I don't think it'll take long to pick up on it in September if we can get back in some normality, because everybody coming back knows it's Prentice Hub's team. It was Prentice Hub's team the last half of the season. Even Gibbs and Pfluger and Mooney knew that. He ran things. He called things. The stuff he said in huddles, he was running stuff. So I think we'll smoothly get back into that in September.
All right, Carter Carls, what date do you feel like things need to be normal so your team will be trained and prepared? I know this is a tough one, but
that's a tough one. I think certainly our university has kind of held the date of May 15th out there to make decisions on the summer. Here's the one thing about basketball as opposed to football. Basketball guys kind of are in shape year-round. I mean, we go on foreign tours in the summer and we play 3 games and we scrimmage, and basketball guys can come back two weeks of hooping and running, and then they're ready to play Syracuse. Let's go, coach. And again, because I have most of my group, I have some experience back. I know we have 4 new faces, but there is some men back that have been in our system, which I would be dreading it if I had the 2-year thing of 2 years ago with all those freshmen coming in and not having my hands on them in the summer. So I just, I don't know, but we're basketball is nimble. We don't have a lot of equipment. We need a ball. We need a couple hoops. And we can be balling a little bit. And let's play, football. That's, as we know, is a whole nother animal.
Darren Pritchett follows up a little bit on this. If the college basketball season doesn't start on time, how many games do you think need to be played to figure out who should make a tournament?
Well, I mean, everything's raced through my mind. Do we start basketball December 1st with games? Do we just play a league schedule? Now, again, I'm just speculating. Nobody said anything about that. But I think, they'll figure it out to have an NCAA tournament because we can't miss it again. Will it be April Madness instead of March Madness? Would it be May Madness if football's pushed back? I mean, again, I don't have any information on this coming, but I'm trying to speculate and be ready. And I'm sure the NCAA is doing that too with contingency plans because we can't miss another NCAA tournament.
Coach, I'm exhausted.
Meaning Notre Dame, but also the sport in general.
I think I've hit pretty much every question in any format. Any final thought you have to send out to anybody?
I just tell everybody to let's not be Captain Panics, right? We don't need to be panicking about stuff. Let's get up, have a routine. Like I tell our guys, have a routine every day. Get your body moving. Do your thing. There's no excuse not to be in really good shape during this time. Come on. We can eat better. We have better control. We can exercise. That's what I've tried to be a little more committed to is getting my energy back and getting in better shape, by the time my guys come back to me. But we're going to be back. We're going to be back. We're built for it. And when we come back, man, it's going to be fun.
Awesome. Thanks, Coach. I appreciate it.
Irish